9.
Imagine a world where everything you know about the universe is wrong. A world where the earth is the motionless center of everything, and the heavens are perfect, divine, and unchanging. This was the world of the early 17th century. A cosmos defined not by observation, but by ancient texts and religious doctrine. To question it was not just a scientific mistake. It was an act of heresy against God himself. But in Pisa, Italy, a man was born with a dangerous curiosity and a habit of asking why. His name was Galileo Galilei, and he was about to pull back the curtain on the cosmos, revealing a truth that would cost him his freedom. Galileo was more than just a stargazer. He was a true polymath. Long before he ever aimed a lens at the sky, he was obsessed with the world around him. You might have heard the legend of him in the Cathedral of Pisa, timing a swinging chandelier with his own pulse, and in that moment, discovering the law of the pendulum, or the famous story of him dropping weights from the Leaning Tower, proving that gravity pulls on all objects equally, regardless of their mass. He was a rebel in the classroom, scoffing at dusty old books and the professors who clung to them, preferring hands-on experiments to ancient authority. He wasn't just learning about the world, he was interrogating it. Then, in 1609, everything changed. News arrived from the Netherlands of a spyglass, a curious device that made distant objects appear closer. While others saw a military tool or a novelty, Galileo saw a key to unlock the heavens. Working from mere descriptions, he began grinding his own lenses, building a telescope far more powerful than any that existed. When he finally pointed it towards the night sky, the perfect, divinely smooth moon of the ancient philosophers vanished. In its place was a rugged, cratered world, with mountains and valleys just like our own. The divine heavens, it turned out, were made of the same messy, imperfect stuff as Earth. But the real bombshell dropped when he turned his gaze to Jupiter. He saw 4 tiny, brilliant points of light dancing around the giant planet. He tracked them night after night, his excitement growing. These weren't stars. The truth struck him like a lightning bolt. They were moons, orbiting Jupiter. This was the smoking gun. If the cosmos was built to circle the Earth, then why were these celestial bodies circling something else? This single observation shattered the very foundation of the old universe. Galileo published his findings in a small book called The Starry Messenger, and it made him an overnight sensation. He became a celebrity, appointed chief mathematician to the powerful Medici family in Florence. But with fame came scrutiny. The powerful Roman Inquisition was watching. Galileo grew bolder, openly championing the sun-centered theory of Nicolaus Copernicus, the idea that the Earth was not the center of the universe, but just another planet orbiting the sun. To the Church, this was heresy. In 1616, he received a formal warning. Stop teaching or defending this absurd and false doctrine. For a while, Galileo fell silent on the matter, turning his genius to other scientific pursuits. But when his friend, Cardinal Barberini, was elected Pope Urban VIII, Galileo believed his moment had come. He thought he finally had the freedom to publish his life's work. The result was a book titled Dialogue concerning the two chief world systems. It was a brilliant piece of writing, but it was also a catastrophic miscalculation. He wrote the book as a conversation between 3 men. One argued for the new sun-centered system, another was a neutral observer, and the third, who defended the old Earth-centered view, was named Simplicio, which translates to the simpleton. To make matters worse, Galileo put some of the Pope's own arguments into the mouth of this simpleton. Pope Urban, already under immense political pressure, felt personally betrayed and publicly humiliated. The hammer fell. Galileo, now an old man, was summoned to Rome to stand trial for heresy. The trial of 1633 is one of the most dramatic showdowns in the history of science. Old, sick, and threatened with torture, Galileo stood before the Inquisition. The pressure was unbearable. He was forced to kneel and publicly renounce everything he had discovered. He was made to say that he abjured, cursed, and detested the very truths he had uncovered in the stars. Legend whispers that, as he rose to his feet, he muttered defiantly, "I per si muove," and yet, it moves. He was sentenced to life in prison, later commuted to house arrest at his villa. But even in isolation, with his eyesight failing, Galileo's spirit was unbreakable. Forbidden from studying the cosmos, he returned to his first love, the physics of motion on Earth. He secretly wrote his final masterpiece, To New Sciences, and smuggled it out of Italy. This book would become the foundation for Isaac Newton's work and the birth of modern physics. Galileo spent his last years in total blindness, a man who had seen farther than any human in history, now confined to a world of darkness. He died in 1642, exactly 300 years before the birth of Stephen Hawking. It would take the Church more than 350 years to formally admit that he was right. But Galileo's legacy didn't need an official pardon. He taught us that authority is no match for evidence, and that the universe speaks not in ancient philosophies, but in the language of mathematics. Every time we send a rover to Mars or peer through a telescope into the abyss of space, we are following a path cleared by that stubborn, brilliant man from Pisa. Today, we remember Galileo not just as the father of modern science, but as a timeless symbol of courage, the courage to seek the truth, no matter the cost. He didn't move the earth with force, but with the power of an idea. He looked at the heavens and showed us not a perfect, static ceiling, but a vast, dynamic frontier waiting to be explored. Because of him, we can never again see our place in the universe in the same way. Thanks for watching. If you're fascinated by the rebels who changed our world, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more stories from the history of science.